Hey, I just want to give about 5 minutes of truth about what's going on out there in Odessa really quick. And I've put a couple of videos up on Open Carry Texas about some of the problems that the state's going to have with these false arrests that thug sheriff out there has been making. But essentially, I read a story today, and the story was the sheriff and others there in the area whining and moaning about the fact that no, we're starting to get and stuff like that, right? So the first thing I want to say is for anyone out there that's listening, there is never, ever, ever endangering the lives of the families of cops. Never. Okay, it's endangering the kids or threatening the kids or threatening the wives or the husbands of the cops. There is never, ever, ever a justification for that. Okay, they're not the ones out there throwing people in handcuffs and kidnapping them and beating them and shooting them and killing them or falsely arresting them and making up false charges. Okay, it's not the family's fault. And I hope everybody recognizes that when you go against tyrants, you go against the tyrants, not their families, okay? Now, their families might support their fellow tyrant, but that doesn't matter because their families didn't do anything to you. Now, that said, I am not, it drives me nuts when people in the Patriot movement or in the gun rights movement say that, um, it doesn't look good when we're out there threatening them. Okay, I did an interview today with the New York Times, and they asked me this question about, what does it look like when, you guys show up out there with guns and, in this threatening way and these people that are threatening cops. And I says, I actually don't appreciate the question, because why don't I ever get asked why it's not such a good thing for cops to go around with their guns threatening the citizenry? And, when cops show up and begin threatening or intimidating people, we don't get these questions about, well, what do you think? Do you think it's okay for cops to be coming around with their guns and intimidating people? You never get that question. But you always get the question of, is it really a good idea for law-abiding citizens to show up with guns because it's intimidating? Sorry, I don't play that game. And quite frankly, if you're going around there and you're falsely arresting people and you're going in there with a SWAT team on a peaceful protest, okay, and it was a protest, and you're sitting there saying things like, these are out-of-towners and they come in here with guns to intimidate people. The only people that were intimidating anybody were the cops. And so, I'm sorry, but when you go out there and you threaten the lives of American citizens and Texans, and you threaten to kill them, which is exactly what that SWAT team did when they go out there, I have no sympathy when you get death threats. And quite frankly, all tyrants should be getting death threats. And at some point, they should be lucky that it's only words at this point. Because if they keep this kind of behavior up, it's not going to just be threats. People are going to start carrying out those threats, and there's going to be kinetic action. And I hope there isn't. The last thing I want to see is violence. But we're getting to a point where violence is going to be the only way that we're going to solve some of these problems. Especially when you've got a sheriff out there that is out there just thinking he can do whatever he wants. And now he's threatening those people who are arrested, saying, oh, these might not be all the charges. We got more charges coming. Well, that's because your fat ass screwed up and did fake charges. Now you're trying to cover your ass instead of recognizing, oh crap, I made a mistake. But I'm sorry, when you sit there and you whine about the fact that you're getting death threats and you're a tyrant, I got no sympathy for you.